All right, thank you so much. It is March 11th, 2025, 7:01 PM. We are in the Olivet City Council at Chamber, and we are here for the Olivet City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, please complete roll call.
Mayor Waldman,
I am here.
Chairman Pro Tem Knox is absent. Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Weil,
Here.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Here.
Thank you so much. We will go now to item number 2 with regard to communications. Do you have any written communications?
There were no written communications.
All right, the next item under communications is a TIF update from Mr. Greg Yowitz. Good evening, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I will put my regular glasses on so I can see you.
I put my readers on so I can see my computer. I made up a couple slides. Is there a HDMI over here?
Our techies are here.
Techies?
Can we assist them? This is the wonderful,
That's not HDMI. That's HDMI.
Can you join the Zoom?
It's not gonna work. Oh,
Greg, can you join the Zoom?
I could join the Zoom. Sure. Give me a second.
this is your tax dollars
Just
in good
tax-
use. We can now
Thank you.
do these things quickly and accurately and present to the public.
Let me just get the link.
Additional tech support down here, please.
All right, I'm in the Zoom. There I am. All right, I got my mic off and my speakers off. Okay, here we go. There we go. Look at that. Technology at its finest. Madam Mayor, members of the council, my name is Greg Yowitz with Keat Olivet Gateway, also 30 some odd year Olivet resident. So I thought I'd give you an update where we are on the project, some things that are happening, some things that have happened. I've got Jason Braidwood with me here with Keeley Properties, also in case you have any questions. So as we all know, on February the 5th, actually, Olivet got a grocery store open again after 35 plus years, which is something that, I recall back in 2015, the council said, whatever you do, find us a grocer. It took a little longer than I thought. There was this little pandemic thing that hit us, but in the end, we have a grocery store in town. And I just got a text from an Olivet resident today who spends time in Florida. She was back in town and said, "Oh my God, the Aldi's great. Thank you." The morning of the opening, I had residents actually hugging me, which it's lovely, right? To be the resident developer who's able to bring our community the things they actually want. So as it relates to Aldi, if you've been by lately, it's still not quite 100% finished. I'm told by their contractor that, according to the middle box, final landscaping is scheduled to be started and ideally completed next week. And then we, due to some input from our Clover residents, which came the day before I got an email from the chief, police chief, we're going to install some stop signs inside the Aldi lot facing out to control traffic because people aren't being courteous and looking both ways before they turn. So we're going to put up stop signs at the 3 points of contact with Olive Crossing Drive. So I thought I'd let you know that. Now this is the 4 sections of our node piece that's being installed potentially as soon as Thursday. It is 6 feet in each direction. It's a cube that is 19 feet tall. The olive tree on the right is the top. Then the olive crossing piece goes, then the Aldi piece goes, then the wood with the little OC letters on the left, so it's sort of stacked in reverse. I actually saw a video, but I couldn't get that into my presentation, of the olive tree lit at night because it glows from the inside. This is going to be a very, very dramatic. You're going to know you're in Olivet when you cross under that bridge, because again, this piece is 19 feet tall. It sits already, its base is already about 4.5 feet off the road. So it's about 23 feet in the air. This glowing olive tree, which you will see from the sign is 3-sided. We didn't feel like putting signage facing back into the development. So there's 3 sides on it. So I thought it was cool. Our team came up with it. We worked with Carlos and with Jennifer on, what is a node piece? What delineates Olivet? What says you're here and isn't just a sign? And I think we've come up with something actually pretty amazing. So look for that potentially this week, worst case, hopefully next week. All right, so where are we with the other lots? The Clover is 96% leased. It's about, Jason, 87% occupied. There are people who sign leases in advance, obviously. But 96% leased it's pretty good. People are very happy. For those of you that may or may not be aware, our lobby and amenity space finished in the top 6 in the world in 2024. We lost out to a building in Japan that I believe their lobby cost more than our entire building. But we won that. We came in the top 6 there, and then we won a lead or a energy efficiency and design award in the hospitality industry at an award ceremony in LA back in January. Lot 3, if you've driven by in the last 48 hours, the construction trailer has been delivered. Work will start soon. We are dealing with some weather-related issues from the snow, because to close our construction loan, we needed a new survey. The problem with that is the snow pushed all the survey crews back. So we're hopefully going to have that in the next day or two, get the loan closed. As you all are aware, Paris Baguette is signed, Brass Tap is signed. We have another lease out for signature. I didn't name the tenant because it's not signed. And then we have one lease that's in negotiation that I can just say is in the smoothie business, but it's not Smoothie King. And then we have one 1,300-foot space we're talking to a few different concepts about to make sure we get the right mix there. And then the hotel, we are wrapping up. There's some issues in developing a hotel with Marriott that our operating partner is dealing with, and hopes to have an answer to us by next week. So then we can start flight planning the architectural and site plan design to get that in front of all of you. One thing to mention, which we may not have mentioned publicly before, which I think will be seen as good news by our neighbors, is we are going to be bringing you a 4-story, 128-room hotel, taking one of the floors off of the already approved 5-story building. That's our plan. And those are my slides. So that's sort of the gist of it. I'm happy to answer any questions, as is Jason.
Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Yowitz? Before I do. All righty, thank you. Okay, you want to do that? Okay. Okay. I just kind of want to wrap things up and make sure I have things understood on my end. And I am curious, the lease for signature, the negotiation that the committee has approved, are those things going to be identified soon? How long do you anticipate those 2 spaces and lots being unidentified?
So ideally, they've been so the one where the lease is out for actual signature, they've been promising to sign it for weeks. It's not an exciting tenant. It's a retailer. They will announce it hopefully in the next week or so.
Okay.
And then the lease that's in negotiations We submitted them our lease 3.5 weeks ago.
Mhm.
I'm still waiting for the comments.
Mhm.
It's an out-of-town company. It's taking longer than I think.
Okay.
Hopefully within a month, we'll have the lease signed. And by that time, ideally, the building will actually be started and
Mhm.
moving upwards. So doesn't really impact the timing of the construction. But then we'll start announcing who the other tenants are as soon as we can.
Okay. Mike.
Do they have other locations in the area, this out of town?
The out-of-town tenant, yes, they
Okay.
do.
Thank you.
So I have a series of questions. So starting with lot 3, the basin, and is that coming with the building
Yes.
or separate?
No, so the completion of the basin, the screen wall, the patio area, all of
Mhm.
that is in the construction contract for lot 3.
Okay. Do you have a timeline for lot 3?
We're hopefully starting in under 30 days.
And once they start, how long do you foresee?
You know, for a retail building where
Assuming no more snow.
right, well, snow becomes not the problem, rain becomes the problem. For a retail building of this size, if everything goes 100% perfect, 4-ish months to get the shell sealed. Right, so that's to get the structure watertight, depending on weather. May, June, April rains could stretch it to 6 months all day. But it's not a complicated build. And as you may or may not remember, the underground infrastructure is there. The basin is part of the detention system. The master water loop system is already installed. The transformer pad is already there. We buried all that 34,000 volt power and pre-wired, so to speak, the development with the main trunk wires. So there's not a significant amount of site work to do, which in some buildings of this size could take 2 months. It'll take us a lot less time because it's all there.
So you're thinking of, you potentially you could be open by the fall.
Yes, I would, you know, the variability is the extensiveness of each of the restaurants build out,
Mhm.
their supply chain issues with their equipment. It's my hope they'll all be open before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And like all these built their own building.
Correct.
Who is building this particular?
Healy Construction's building this
Okay.
building.
And they'll do the inside of the build out for each restaurant?
No. So we deliver every deal is different in this, but
Okay.
we deliver a certain amount of work that we've agreed to in the lease, then the tenant takes it from there. There is the possibility that Keeley will do it for them, but they're also bidding it against other contractors.
Okay.
So once we will either hit what we're supposed to deliver and they'll take it from there and bring their people in. Like when I built Price Crossing, I built a shell. Corwin brought in his own contractor. Jimmy John's brought in their own contractor. Some of the deals we're doing almost everything. The retail tenant, for example, is literally a few walls and a bathroom. So we're going to do all of that work. But when it comes to restaurant build out, because of the timing of kitchen equipment, and I don't know that we're going to do that.
So I've been in a Paris Baguette. So
Mhm.
my question for that is like, are they gonna have that same internal look with the white tiled walls and some of that?
That's
or-
what they've showed me, yes.
Okay.
And the cake decorating station that's enclosed in
right.
glass, yes.
Okay. So once you've done your part and you've got your timeline, are they on a timeline underneath you? Like how are we getting them to keep the fire going?
So they have a fixed amount, in most leases, I would say our leases as well, they have a set amount of time to finish or rent starts whether they're open or not. So they're incentivized to move as fast as possible because they don't want to pay us rent when they haven't opened for business.
I mean, that is one of the positives that we've heard about Aldi's is that once they broke ground and they got the outer shell open, they kept moving. But we also know it's a big box store, you know.
It's not the most complicated build
So
out.
exactly. The Marriott, I was surprised when you said that you're about to start the design. I thought the design was well underway.
So we have schematic design and we have the, we'll call it the wire frame of the building, so to speak, but we need to come to you with a architectural review package and a formal site plan presentation. We have a site plan. We just need to finish the material selections and then present that to PCDC.
So along those lines, I know there was an interest, over the past years, especially, during the pandemic, that you wanted to finish certain lots prior to opening the hotel so that if you were a hotel guest, you weren't driving through construction. Are you looking at now at doing lot 3 and then the hotel before you do lot 5
Yes,
so that we can pick up the pace?
yes.
Okay. And you see that it's not going to be an issue?
I don't believe it's going to be an
Okay.
issue.
And can you, it's not lot 5, it's lot 4, I'm sorry. The hotel's considered lot 5, right?
No, the hotel is lot 6, actually. 1 and 2 were combined into
Oh,
Aldi.
correct.
3,
Okay.
the
So
apartments are
this is
4.
6. So the lot 5, the one that is yet to be determined, which was originally an office building, but the world has changed. Can you share with us any insight of what your plans are for that lot?
So, couple thoughts. One is that one of the things that is part of this update tonight is for me to start the conversation about extending our substantial completion date, which is currently set for, I think, June 30th of this year, which obviously we're not going to make. As a part of that, we are looking at another set of options for Lot 5 that achieve a couple of things. One, they preserve the value of the TIF. 2, they involve constructing 2 smaller buildings that give us the ability to build the hotel without the concern of having a 6-story office building under construction in front of the hotel, removes the need for the parking garage, for a second garage. There's obviously the first garage with the Clover. But this would be more of a food-oriented set of uses that we're working with a couple of companies on. We're not far enough along to say what we're talking about, other than to say, as part of our extension, we'd like you to consider what we'll present as an alternate set of what the Lot 5 deliverable could be, more along the lines of restaurants than an office building. Because as you probably are all aware, the office market is still massively depressed. There have been a few very large tenants fishing, and by few, I mean 3 in the last 2 years. There's no one looking. And those that are looking are getting amazing discounts in existing buildings, and it makes new construction almost infeasible unless somebody specifically wants the site. So Jason and I have been working this, we'll call it Plan B for Lot 5 for almost a year. Yeah. So it's curation of the right users on that site for this community that also is right for the community and works in the context of the TIF.
Okay.
That's what we're looking at.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry to be so cryptic, but
No, you're
it's
fine. I
coming.
just, I don't want to, take up all your time. I may circle back with more questions, but I'll leave it to my other council members.
So for lot 3, there are no dependencies out, I mean, those leases that you have out are not, like, their construction is not dependent on that, right? You're starting construction no matter what happens to these other leases. Like the
Yes.
one for, okay.
Yes, we're starting construction. Again, we thought we would have closed the loan a month ago, and the surveyor promised us the survey the week of February 6th. Today's March 11th, and the email I got this afternoon was, there's 100 items on your title. We're trying to finish. We'll get it to you ASAP. And my response was, can you tell me what ASAP means? Right? It's every week, it's next week. Every week, it's next. So we're just, that and item 10 on the agenda, we obviously need to deal with in order to close the loan. But the leases are, the leases are there. We're going to sign the other leases. We're building the building.
So are you going to, I'm sorry, Madam
Look,
Mayor?
I'm
Okay.
going last. It's a
Okay.
privilege of the mayor to go
Um,
last. Go ahead.
Are you going to, you're going to start lot 3, whether you have that signature or not?
Signature on
Those-
these other leases?
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
Yeah, we have to, we have to start the building to make the deadlines with these existing tenants, which just, frame of reference,
Okay.
the 2 tenants we have comprise 61% of the building.
okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
So if I could follow up on the fact that my recollection is that one of these retailers, and I thought it was Brass Tap, you need to have something by a specific date for them to be satisfied to do their internal construction.
Correct.
What is that date?
Yeah, I don't have I don't have the dates in front of me. I can tell you that there's a variability with brass tap, and that goes back to the question I think Maxine answered or asked. So brass tap said to us, we might want your contractor to build our space. And we said, great. What is it? And they still have yet to deliver us they're finishing their internal plans. Our team can't price it until they have a firm set of plans. They gave us a prototypical brass tap. You can't get a construction bid off a prototype. So there's a chance that they'll push their delivery date out in exchange for them having Keeley, do the work.
Okay.
But again, I still think the dates hold that everybody should be open by Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I can see where the construction of the shell is done in September and then 2 months to do the other things. Mr. Yowitz, with regards to looking at the business building lot, office building lot number 5, and looking at 2 or 3 smaller buildings for food-oriented businesses, that means that Lot 5's office building size will not be the height that is currently identified for that space, or you are still going to build something tall?
So if what Jason and I are working on, there means there will be no office building, no parking garage, and 2 one-story, but might have the height of a 1.5-story building because of, parapets and things like that. But it would be what I will propose when we get to that point of discussing an extension document with the city manager is Lot 5 is either this or this. And because, and I will tell you the reasoning, this is the way, bless you, the way the world works. If I come back and say we're going to do this instead before it's completely done, you know what will happen? The next day an office tenant will call me and ask me for an office building, right? So what I'd like to do is make that an either or deliverable, and just have a deadline to make that decision and get it in front of you. That's sort of the context of what I'm thinking.
My mother would say, God bless you. And keep you, O Lord, amen. Okay. All right, I'm
gotta
gonna
stop
just
sharing here.
give a little bit of other space here for thinking. I am going to go to my planner, Mr. Trejo, and ask, sir, are there any questions that you have or any pieces of information that you need follow-up on while Mr. Yowitz is here in our council meeting?
That we should have thought of.
Or any questions you want to ask, you want them to ask me.
Or Mr.
Correct. At
Trejo,
this time-
I turned to the mayor and I said, or questions we should have thought of.
At this point, no, Mayor, I don't have anything
Okay.
additional.
Okay,
I
okay.
know we have, working on the permits and been working with them on the building permit extension for Lot 3 to get that going. And weather pending, it sounds like it's set, so.
Okay, okay. And it will eventually come in front of the Planning and Community Design Commission.
Lot 3 has already been through that process. It's permit.
Correct, yeah.
Well, and actually the building permit has been issued. It's just initiating construction.
Yeah, and I think I was just speaking of moving forward with Lot 5 and the other things
5
that
and
would be
6,
coming
correct,
in the
would be-
interior design of the businesses. Okay, well, we'll hopefully hear some good news and identify some other stuff that would be coming to our community. People remind us all the time that they don't want the same old, so if it's good and different kind of restaurants, that would be great. We'll
Mayor,
see what happens.
if you don't
Oh,
mind,
do
I
you-
have maybe one or two.
Please forgive me for not
questions.
looking at
That's
your
okay.
way.
You
Um,
asked Carlos, you didn't ask Jennifer.
That's all right. So I have every confidence that you're gonna build Lot 3. Are we on Keely's schedule for about 30 days from now? And materials have been ordered, steel's coming, concrete's coming, workers are coming? Okay,
I mean, I was happy to see, he hadn't told me, but I noticed the construction trailer showed up, not the green box that's been there,
right.
but the trailer actually showed up yesterday or the day before.
Mhm.
I didn't even know it was coming, but
Okay.
trust me, the Fongs are texting me almost every couple of days. Brass tap as well. So
Okay.
And there's not going to be the issues with manpower and the labor and whatever could
This is
end up
not
being an
that-
impact here.
Th-
Okay,
This is not like building the apartment building in,
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a 10,000 foot,
yeah. And then-
10,475 foot
Yeah.
shell.
Okay, and if at the end of the day, we don't build a business building and a parking garage, I know there's some people that would be very happy neighbors, with regard to that. So thank you for your time. Anybody have any final thoughts that they want? All right, then, appreciate your time and coming here today, Greg. And I will continue to look forward to seeing what happens from the sideline in a little bit.
Yeah, well,
So-
I'll be back for item number 10, so we're not going anywhere.
Okay. As long as you're back before the end of April. Okay, you're right, okay.
Mr. Yawitz, I do want to thank you for being on top of the situation on the parking lot with Aldi's. So I've noticed some of the traffic issues and I'm glad that you're addressing them. So thank you. Thank you.
Item number 3 is the city manager's report. Ms. Ackley, good evening.
Good evening. Look, there it is. I'm gonna skip the traditional city manager's report on Olive Crossing because I think you got a much better report from Mr. Yawitz, and there's no need to go back over it. So I'm going to start with upcoming events. Tomorrow is Coffee with the Mayor, and that should say March 12th and not February. At 8:45, we're going to talk about the Olive Boulevard corridor featuring our own Planning and Community Development Director, Carlos Trejo, and then John Wagner, who is Carlos's counterpart in U City, and then Sean Tooley, who is from MoDOT. So they are going to talk about the vision for Olive Boulevard, how the three cities, or well, the two cities can cooperate and MoDOT cooperate together. If you have questions about potholes, Sean Tui's from MoDOT. MoDOT controls Olive. You can ask him, see if he has an answer for that. But that will be tomorrow morning at Five Oaks. Our Olivet Business Awards. It is the second year for our business and restaurant awards. So please take an opportunity to nominate up to 3 businesses and 3 restaurants. The nomination form is available on the city's website, or you can follow the QR code below. And we are taking nominations until 5 p.m. on March 24th. I believe we have 70 plus nominations. So like 70 plus, individuals have
Right.
nominated. So
That's significantly more than last year.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
so
great.
so we're excited to find out who's going to win. And then we have some open commission seats. So we have an open seat on economic development, an open seat on the Parks and Rec Commission, and then an open seat on the Planning and Community Design Commission. This individual needs to be either an architect or a landscape architect. We have received 2 total applications. So one individual is interested in the Parks and Rec Commission, and one individual is interested in the Economic Development Commission. And we are going to continue to take applications until March 14th. The application is available online. You can also use the QR code. It was also pushed out through Olivet Weekly. So please drop your name in the hat if you are interested. Holy Festival is Saturday, March 15th from 11 to 4 at Stacy Park. It is a rain or shine event. So please come on out and celebrate this event. It's a Southeast Asian holiday, the Festival of Colors. I will tell you that one change this year is that if you are looking to park at Stacy Park, it is going to be $10. Cash is preferred. We are attempting to recoup some of the cost for the overtime. It is a very large festival approximately 4,000 people come to this event. But we need some police presence just really for, crowd control, traffic control, and things like that. And so that is why we are charging $10 to park. And we would like to honor our police officer and firefighter of the year. Jeff Cummins was recognized on Friday as our police officer of the year. And then Assistant Chief Tim Fain, was honored as our firefighter of the year. So a round of congratulations to them for their hard work and service to the city.
Can I just stop you there for a minute?
Sure.
The story behind the award for the firefighter and Olivet Chief Tim Fain and the ambulance drivers of Creve Coeur, the gentleman, that tall gentleman that's standing next to me in
Whoop.
between Chief Fain, he is the gentleman that had the massive heart attack, several of them at Stacy Park. And our crew was out doing a call in Creve Coeur. And Chief Fain himself took the call and came up to the park and began to deal with the treatment and the care of this gentleman. And he is alive today. And so he spoke as well in his appreciation and thanks for what we do in a collaborative effort with other communities. He was totally unaware that we do as municipalities have collaborative things that we do together. So his story was very heartwarming, and his family was there, and his look at life is totally different, and he greatly appreciates that he gets to continue doing his, was it 2-mile walk, a 3-mile walk around Stacy?
3-mile walk. So
So-
he's actually a Creve Coeur resident, and during the pandemic, he started taking a 3-mile walk, and part of that is through Stacy Park.
Yeah.
And so, as the mayor said one morning, he didn't feel well, and he called 911, and Chief Fain responded to that because our ambulance was on another call. And the cooperative part is that Creve Coeur's ambulance came to Stacy Park. And the next thing he really remembers is waking up in the hospital, and
Yeah.
I think he said coded 3 times that day.
Yeah.
So it really is a collaborative effort. The fire departments really, and the police departments, because our police officers were also on scene, collaborate together. And so what they decided to do is give a really kind of a joint kind of firefighter of the year to both Tim Fain and then the 2 Creve Coeur ambulance drivers
Yeah.
to showcase the mutual aid.
Yeah. So it was a very heartwarming event, and his story was a heartwarming one as well. So forgive me, go ahead.
I was just gonna add, I actually work with him, so I see him every day. So he continues to walk his 3.5 miles, sometimes with another bonus walk at lunch. So yeah, he's doing very well.
Yeah. All right. And so this is just a plug for the Olivet Weekly, which comes out every Monday. Bless you. And has all kinds of things going on in the city, and is an easy way to stay up to date on things throughout the city of Olivet. And then lastly, here are the upcoming meetings. Please note that the March 20th Planning and Community Design Commission meeting has been canceled, as that is spring break for the Ladue School District. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions of the city manager? All right, thank you for that report. All right, next we have the city council reports. I will look to my right and go to my fellow Councilmember Weil.
I don't have any reports at this time.
Okay, when's your next park board meeting?
The park board meeting is tomorrow night because next week is spring break.
Okay.
So we moved it up a week, and I was gonna say Chairman Pro Tem, but you're not, right? I don't know. Councilmember Clark will be joining them in my place.
Very good. All right, Councilmember Clark.
I have nothing to report at this time.
All right, Councilmember Solomonov.
Nothing to report. I haven't attended any meetings yet.
All righty,
Commissioner.
all right. I attended the Planning Community Design Commission meeting, of which there are a few items that are here for public hearing and second reading. And pretty much it's what we have covered, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Our meeting, again, as noted, is canceled for the 20th due to spring break, and we will see everybody again the first Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock for the next Planning and Community Design Commission meeting. Next, we have item number 5, which is hearing from citizens. Madam Clerk, I don't have any cards. Anybody in the audience? Okay, Mr. Yowitz, go ahead.
Greg Yowitz, 6 Heather Hill Lane. Wanted to say great idea charging for parking at the Holy Festival because they're using our facilities and it tears up the ground and it takes a lot of police enforcement. As it relates to the police enforcement, my hope is that this year there'll be significantly more officers there because 2 years ago, I think when it happened, it took me 20 minutes to get from Olive and Old Bonham to Heather Hill because people were pulling up and stopping, and poor Officer Brittany was by herself, and it was a disaster. It was terrible, and it took about, again, 20 minutes to get from Olive to Heather Hill. Seems a little crazy. So I applaud this move of charging because we need more officers on duty moving traffic. It's a very congested area and the crowd is massive and it's a wonderful and beautiful thing, but the residents need to be able to get to and from their houses. So thank you.
And this has been an event that has expanded and grown over the years, and it's just become so successful. You have to implement steps and things that allow it to be fun, entertaining, and accessible. And, you know, we have to be able to deal with our manpower. So thank you for that remark and that comment. There are some people that are on by Zoom. If you would like to make remarks or comments during hearing from citizens, please raise your hand and the city manager will move you over. Okay, we will move on. I don't see any hands raised there, so we will move on to item number 6, bill number 3040. Madam Clerk.
Bill number 3040, an ordinance to amend ordinance 2565, an ordinance to authorize the issuance of a special permit use to Auto Beauty Specialists to operate an automobile collision repair facility at the property addressed as 1223 North Price Road to include 28,000 square feet of lower level indoor warehouse slash storage space at the property. Do I have that twice? Addressed as 1220 North Price Road for the storage of vehicles awaiting repair and the storage of vehicle parts. Second reading and public hearing.
All right, good evening, Mr. Trejo.
Good evening,
Floor
Mayor,
is yours.
members of the council. My name's Carlos Trejo. I'm the Planning and Community Development Director for the City of Olivet. And Mayor, we do have a short slide presentation prepared for the council for this public hearing. And then if we can close the ordinary session and go into the hearing.
At this point in time, we will close the regular session and I will move to go into the public hearing phase. Public hearing is yours.
Good evening, Mayor, again. This bill, 3040, would amend the existing ordinance number 2565 that was issued back in 2017, I believe, to Auto Beauty Specialists at 1223 North Price Road. Auto Beauty Specialists conducts exterior car repair on their site ground. They're located in the North Price Industrial Park at 1223 North Price Road. They've been residents of Olivet there for approaching well over 8 years now. They've been a good business and have been actively participants in a lot of city events. The next slide will show they have an opportunity to lease some space across the street from their existing facility. It's a multi-tenant warehouse. Address as 1220 North Price Road. If you're familiar, that address has been before the council a couple of times. One, of course, going back for the cultivation facility, which was withdrawn. And then more recently, Latch.com is located there, and then Paddle and Pickle, which was before the council for a special permit for their indoor recreation facilities in there. That facility has almost 160,000 square feet of space. It used to be the old location of a distillery way long back that had been they're Southern Comfort. I couldn't think of the name there. Thank you. They've added to that building over the time to there till it became vacant, and then it's gone through a variety of different users. There is a space of approximately 28,000 square feet that is in a basement level, or lower level, I should say, in there. And Auto Beauty Specialist is seeking to lease that space to do indoor car storage awaiting repair and the storage of vehicle parts in there. Their Auto Beauty repair service is generally more of a higher-end cars, and they do collision repair on the exterior body. They don't do any major motor, transmission, or any of that work. It's more the cosmetic work in there. So these cars would be stored in there. Majority of the time, they can move on their own accord in there. They're seeking to park these vehicles indoors. The facility's fully sprinkled. We've had a walkthrough with the fire marshal along with the building inspectors to kind of discuss what would be necessary for the improvements. And outside of them, adding a dock door, which I'll show in a second. The facility it would be a good use of the space, again, that is not visible because it's in a lower level, and it's a good size. The property is zoned LID, Light Industrial District. And given that Auto Beauty Specialist already has a special permit, we saw it best to bring it forward to the commission as an amendment to the original ordinance that was authorized, the special permit to Auto Beauty Specialist, that was 2565, and do it as an amendment to include the storage space at 1220 North Price Road. The next slide will show you a little bit more specifics. Special permit procedure requires the recommendation from the city's planning commission and then the final action by the city council. It's generally a use that would kind of be permitted, but there's something always unique about it, that the council maintains control of adding conditions or reviewing it in a more unique way to make sure it's consistent and compatible with its surroundings. There's a full process for it to go through, and this has gone through that process. And then at the end of the day, before the council can act or take final action, it requires a public hearing. We've mailed out the notices for this hearing and also posted it in the St. Louis County, which is our paper of record. The next slide would show what we look at during the special permit, and that it goes through a site plan review. We make sure that the use is acknowledged within our zoning code, that it furthers the comprehensive plan, that it's sustainable to environment, it's suitable for its environment and surroundings, complementary to the neighboring uses in architecture, mitigates spillover effects, allows the city to require additional conditions to mitigate any of these spillover effects, or make it more complementary with its surroundings, and then ensure that we have adequate public services for the facility in there. And the commission did go through the review and made an analysis, and I think on the next slide, recommended the council consider, and this is just to show you where that location is. Auto Beauty Specialist is in the aerial on the left side, where you can see the little key symbol, and then across the street is 1223 North Price Road, and then on the upper part of that building, you'll see that little red door. That's where the lower level storage facility would be. Paddle and Pickles right above that. And they have a little bit more space because they're kind of an L shape. This space is, again, 28,000 square feet that just goes straight back, pretty much all halfway below ground in that site. The next slide would go over after the commission made their review. They recommended the council consider approval subject to the following condition. And their concern was just in case if they were to terminate the lease or cease operations, that they give the city a 30-day notice, submit a plan for the relocation of the vehicles that would be stored down there, and then rescind the amendment to 2565 and then continue operations at the 1223 North Price facility. That should cover the presentation, Mayor. And then if I can just enter a couple of items into the record, given that we have a hearing. And then I'll be glad to answer any questions. The next slide will show the items for the record. The original ordinance 2565, including all exhibits that authorize auto beauty specialists to conduct operations at 1223 North Price Road. Our 2024 comprehensive plan update, including the 5-year economic development plan. The staff presentation and memorandum to the Planning and Community Design Commission dated February 6, 2025, including the petition and the supporting plans and documents. The public hearing notice, the affidavit of publication, which was February 24th, 2025, 15 days prior to today's meeting, and the list of addresses notified, the Olivet Municipal Code and zoning map in this presentation and staff report before the commission council tonight. Thank you, Mayor, and that's all I have. In there, we do have representatives for auto beauty specialists, but first I'd be glad to answer any questions, and then I'll introduce.
First, this is typical of my format, that this is a public hearing, so before I circle it back down to my peers, I'm going to ask if there's people in the audience or online that have any remarks or questions with regards to this public hearing for auto beauty specialists.
Well, Mayor, that, if I may, that
Mhm.
being the case, and then if I can introduce, Mr. Garber is here. He's the owner operator of Auto Beauty Specialist, of course, a longtime resident for quite some time. And then also his controller, Nick Evola, is online, and they'd be glad to answer any questions too. So, and I don't know if
Okay,
Mr.
so.
Garber has.
All right, so we will see if the public has any questions, and then we will close the public hearing, and then we will go back to my council. So there are some people online, some people in the audience. If anybody wants to ask or inquire with regards to this special use permit amendment. Okay, I will take this hammer and I will close the public hearing, and I will bring this back to my council. My fellow council members, does anybody have any questions of Mr. Trejo or of Mr. John Barber, the owner of Auto Beauty Specialist?
I do have a question. So as far as storage, you say parts and vehicles, does that include paint and chemicals and anything that could be used for painting the cars?
Mr. Garber, I'm going to invite you over here. That's okay. Yes. And at their current facility, they do have a painting booth. The expanded area would be solely for just the storage in there. You could describe the.
And I do want to remind us that this business has been an environmentally mindful, sustainable business before he even came to Olivet. It is not solvents that he uses. It is water-based. And I will hush and I will let you speak, sir. Mr. Barber, pleasure.
Thank you. John Garber, 1223 North Price Road. It's a privilege to be here. We love Olivet. Anybody that knows Auto Beauty's story and about how we came to be in Olivet knows that we love Olivet. So thank you for your question. I can tell you that the only thing in that building, what we're going to store in that building is going to be cars and new parts and boxes. So no paints, nothing of that nature whatsoever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
I feel like I missed something on that visual. Is there a ramp to get down there? I mean, how do you get the cars down there?
Yes.
Because I've been by the building 100 times, and when we were kids, it was a warehouse from
Correct.
I think, was it the whiskey business or something?
Comfort.
Yes, so,
Yeah.
but
A new opening would be placed under Paddle and Pickle, and then there will be a drive to
Okay.
bring the vehicles
so
in.
that will
That'll
be,
go to.
so it doesn't exist, it's gonna be
That is
built.
correct. It will be added to
Oh,
that.
okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
They wouldn't build it until they got the opportunity to say,
Right.
yes, we're gonna let you have it. Yeah, I am a little bit of a history buff. Yes, St. Louis, we here in Olivet used to be the distiller and the bottler for Southern Comfort for many years. All right, if there's no other questions or concerns, I will allow us to go back to take the necessary actions to take motions with regard to this amended special use permit.
Madam Mayor, I'd be happy to make a motion to, should I make it up as I go?
There we go.
No, I'm kidding. My eyes are good, but not, okay. An ordinance to amend ordinance 2565, an ordinance to authorize the issuance of special permit use to auto beauty specialist to operate an automobile collision repair facility at the property addressed as 1223 North Price Road to include 28 thousand square feet of lower level indoor warehouse storage space at the property addressed as 1220 North Price Road for the storage of vehicles awaiting repair and the storage of vehicle parts.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. If there's no additional questions, please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Weil,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Mayor Waldman.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Bill 3040 becomes ordinance 2810.
All right, and we will see your son at Turkey Trot. Thank you so much. Take care. All right, we'll go to item number 7, bill number 3041. Madam Clerk.
Bill 3041, an ordinance to amend Article 8, permitted signs in industrial LID district of Chapter 415 sign regulations being part of Title 4 land use of the Olivet Municipal Code. Second reading and public hearing.
All right, good evening, Mr. Carway. How are you? I'll let you start and then I'll go in and I'll hammer for the public hearing, all right?
Sounds great. Good evening, council. I'm Jack Carswell. I am the Planning and Zoning Administrator, and we have a presentation for you tonight regarding the Light Industrial District and monument signage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will move into the public hearing, close the regular city council meeting and deal with the public hearing for this text amendment. It is yours again, Mr. Caswell.
Thank you. So before you tonight is a text amendment to permit certain properties zoned within the Light Industrial District up to 2 monument signs. On the next slide, it will show the different components of what we're looking for within these monument signs. So these monument signs would only apply to lots with continuous street frontage of over 300 feet and that they may petition for the second monument sign. So this second monument sign would be subject to site plan review in accordance with Article 11 with the site plan review of Chapter 400 zoning regulations, as well as the monument signs shall be positioned at the opposite ends of the street frontage or separated by a minimum distance of 200 feet, and that the monument size or signs, location, size, and height requirements are all subject to section 415, 330, and D3. And those current sign requirements include that the sign can only be up to 25 square feet and cannot exceed 6 feet in height. So when they apply for a second monument sign, they would be going before the Planning and Community Design Commission so that they would review the location and the sizing and everything based off of that prior to the approval. On the next slide, our senior planner put together a map that showed that 29 of the 72 parcels located within the light industrial district would qualify. So that would qualify with the 300 feet of continuous frontage. So back in the summer of 2024, we received a petition from Carrollton Bank to include 2 monument signs. With the current way that the code is written, it would not be approved with those 2 monument signs. So that we were only allowed to approve 1, and we made the recommendation to them that we would take it to the council for the amendment of the code. And here we are now tonight with the hearing. But with Carrollton Bank, if you can see on that map, that would be 9358 right there. Where the cursor is that the city manager has to the left side of that parcel at the top north, that's where they're putting the first monument sign. They have 2 openings. Their plan, if everything gets approved, would be to have the second monument sign located opposite of the entry farther south, so that they have enough continuous frontage that they would have these 2 signs located on the opposite ends of the entry for that business. So that we saw, since they came before us, we took into consideration that 300 feet and looked at the different parcels that would be affected, and hence why we are here tonight. On the next slide, I have the items to enter into record.
I do want to identify the items for the record.
Yes, Mayor. Sorry about that. So the items for the record tonight would be the 2024 Comprehensive Plan Update, the staff presentation and memorandum to the PCDC Board dated December 5th, 2024, including the petition and supporting documents, the public hearing notice of publication on February 24th, and the list of addresses notified, Olivet Municipal Code and Zoning Map, as well as the presentation before the City Council dated March 11th, 2025.
All right, thank you very much. This is the public hearing phase, and there are people in the audience and there are people that are online. I will ask, is anybody wanting to make remarks, ask questions? Please come to the podium or raise your hand if you're online. All right, I don't see anyone raising hands or identifying or coming to the podium. At this point in time, I will close the public hearing. And then we'll go back to the regular city council meeting, and I will look to my fellow council members and ask if any of you have any questions or inquiries of the Olivet City staff.
I do not.
Okay. All right. Do we anticipate that we're going to begin to get bombarded by other businesses seeking this as a result of identifying the number of businesses that could potentially meet this criteria?
I would,
29 of
I would
72?
expect that some businesses will take the opportunity to have the second monument sign. Obviously, the approval will be up to the commission based off of the location and the design based off of that. But I would understand, it just depends if they, want to take the opportunity to include that extra signage.
Sure. All right, no questions from the council. On our screen here, there is action to take, so I will entertain a motion and a second.
I'd like to make a motion to approve bill number 3041, an ordinance to amend Article 8, permitted signs in industrial lake district of Chapter 415, Center Regulations, being part of Title 4, Land Use of the Olivet Municipal Code.
Second.
Moved and seconded. If there's no additional questions, please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Weil, Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Mayor Waldman.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Bill 3041 becomes ordinance 2811.
All right, thank you so much. Next item is item number 8, bill number 3042. Madam Clerk.
Bill 3042, an ordinance to amend section 425.040 submittal requirements and section 425.050 review procedure, single-family residential structures of Article 1 Community Design Regulations, being part of Chapter 425 Community Design, General of Title 4 Land Use of the Olivet Municipal Code. Second reading and public hearing.
All right, Mr. Trejo, I'll let you start, and then I'll identify and go into the public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening again. My name is Carlos Trejo. I'm in the Planning and Community Development Director for the City of Olivet, and here to present before you a public hearing for Bill 3042, Mayor.
All right, we will close city council and go into public hearing with regards to bill 3042.
Thank you, Mayor. Chapter 429, Community Design, establishes our community architectural and design regulations that apply to all properties in general. And then further establishes conditions for residential properties, which is where we have our review boards for new single-family homes and additions in that aspect. And then also adopts the Olivet Residential Redevelopment and Design Guidelines in there. Chapter 428 is the general architectural and design guidelines that apply to the Olive Boulevard corridor. So 425 we commonly use as the majority of the city is single-family residential, and we have a majority of our Plan Commission reviews that follow through Chapter 425. What this ordinance would do would amend the subsection 040, which are the submittal requirements for Chapter 425, and then also the review procedures under 050 for single-family residential properties. The next slide will kind of give a quick outlook. One is under the submittal requirements. During Chapter 425, we have different things. We have those things that are required by code in which staff has minimal leeway and has to ensure that those are provided because they're required by ordinance, like the building construction plans, the site improvement plans, the concept stormwater management plan. We're asking now to require an arborist report and a landscape plan. That would be applicable to all new single-family homes petitioning for redevelopment and also for significant addition, those additions that are with well over 1,200 square feet. And then also for demolitions. And this will get us better to kind of implement some of the priorities in our 2024 comprehensive plan update, and also from the direction of the council to establish some regulations regarding the removal of trees during residential construction. Chapter 425.050, the review procedures, is to change the format. Right now, when we have a deadline date when everybody submits, and then from that deadline date, we have up to 10 days to review the submission and provide a response back to the applicant of whether everything is there or not. We've expanded the amount of things that we oversee now. So we're asking to extend that deadline date from 10 days to 15 days, give us more ample time to make sure we review like the arborist report, the landscape plan. We didn't do any changes when we added the concept stormwater management plans in the process. So this will give us a little bit more lead time. In addition to that, the review process would change that instead of having a deadline date, we would allow petitioners to submit at any time in there, because what was traditionally happening was that, an example was last month, we had 4 applications for a new home submitted on the same date. And on that, we have 10 days to review all those 4. So we get bombarded. And then in addition to that, petitioners or applicants also see that as a deadline. So they just try to get whatever they can in with the hopes that, hey, hopefully by the time you start looking at mine, you'll realize I submitted some other stuff in there. This will then kind of spread out the opportunity to submit your applications. And then after staff within that 10, 15-day period, if staff declares the application complete, then we have 30 days to get it scheduled within the plan commission meeting nights. So that would help expedite and allow the opportunity for applicants to submit at any time throughout the month, and then also ensure that they get a placement within 30 days so that their applications are fully complete in there. The next slide, just for items to enter into the record as part of this, is our 2024 comprehensive plan update, our Olivet residential redevelopment and design guidelines, the staff presentation and memorandum to the Plan Commission dated December 5th, 2024, including the petition and supporting documents, our public hearing notice and affidavit of publication. We didn't have, this is an amendment to a text, so we didn't have any properties to notify, so I apologize for leaving that up. The Olivet Municipal Code and Zoning Map, and then this presentation before the council dated March 11th, 2025. Mayor, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
There's people in the audience and people online. Before I close this public hearing, does anybody have any questions, concerns, remarks, comments with regard to this public hearing and potential modification? Okay, we will move on. We will close the public hearing. We will go back to our regular session. I will turn to my fellow peers and ask if anyone has any questions of Mr. Trejo or the city manager. None? None? Okay. All right. This is good governance, in my opinion here, recognizing, what we expect and want and what comes into our community, and the ability for our staff to be able to take the proper amount of time to do what is necessary to complete a good review and a process. And as you said, eliminate the bombardment of so many coming in to beat and meet a deadline. So, this is good review and good consideration of change. So if there's no other questions or concerns or any remarks from staff, I will entertain the motion that is before us.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Bill 3042, an ordinance to amend Section 425.040 submittal requirements and Section 425.050 review procedural single-family residential structures of Article 1, Community Design Regulations, being part of Chapter 425, Community Design General of Title 4, Land Use and Olivet Municipal Code.
Second,
Moved and seconded. If there's no additional follow-up, please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Weil,
yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Mayor Waldman.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Bill 3042 becomes ordinance 2812.
All right, excellent. You don't have
Thank
to
you, Mayor.
tear your hair out anymore. Great. We'll go to, I'm always giving you a little break to get your work done before I get back on you, okay? Item number 9, bill number 3043, Madam Clerk.
Bill number 3043, an ordinance authorizing the city of Olivet to enter into and execute a contract with St. Louis County, Missouri for vector control services, and authorizing and directing the city manager of the city of Olivet to enter into, on behalf of said city, a contract with St. Louis County, Missouri for vector control services. First reading.
All right, this is a first reading. I don't know if you want to say anything with regards to this. It is the first reading.
All I would say is that this is a contract that the city has entered into for a number of years. There are a few increases, as you can see on the screen. Larva siding is going up $7 to $72 per hour. Adult siding has a $10 increase to $102 per hour, and rodent abatement is a $6 increase to $48 per hour. The contract is for 5 years. It is also with St. Louis County, and they are going to continue to do all of their testing before they do any spraying to make sure that spraying is in fact necessary. And so it is a contract that is very similar to the one we did 4 years ago.
All righty. Does anybody have any questions of the city manager with regard to this topic?
I have a question. So is this this is not for the mosquitoes?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so are people allowed to opt out for their property as they come through?
I don't know how that's possible.
I thought that we've been able to make that request, like if you have beehives or something.
I'll
And
check the contract and get back
Okay.
to you on that.
Great, thank you.
So this contract covers general spraying around the city. They drive around with trucks and spray.
Correct. Only if after testing has determined that spraying is necessary.
Okay.
Okay. In the past, they would just schedule a day, whether we needed it or not. And they have advanced, the science has advanced. And so they do testing. If it's not warranted, they don't spray. If it is warranted, they will.
So they'll charge us less if they don't have to spray, right? They'll just charge us for the testing? Is that
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And again, it was their answer to the concerns of environmental, putting that in the air because it kills everything good and bad, kind of like penicillin and our needing to replace our own, needs. And so this is when they modified and went to testing before just doing what we all remember. And I remember as a kid, just coming by and hearing the psh, and they're spraying everywhere. So, it is a balancing act. So any other questions before oh no, this is first reading. Never mind. All right, we are moving on to item number 10, which is acknowledgement to the collateral assignment and agreement. And I will allow the city clerk to read this, and then the city manager will go into summarizing. Go ahead.
Item 10, a request authorizing the city manager to sign an acknowledgement to collateral assignment and agreement for Keat Olivet Gateway LLC to secure a loan from UMB Bank for construction costs related to the Gateway I-170 TIF.
All right, Mrs. Yackley, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. The long and the short of it is that Keat Olivet Gateway LLC is seeking to secure a loan from UMB Bank. And this is a document requested by the bank, essentially asking the city to acknowledge that the TIF revenues would be collateral for their loan for the construction that they will be doing within the development area.
Does anybody have any questions with regard to the summary that was provided? All right, there is
There is a recommended action.
there is a recommended action, but I'm gonna vary from the rules. I'm gonna ask anybody in the audience or anyone that is online if they have any questions with regard to this matter that they want to propose or present to me, the mayor.
Kate Pashon Hellman, 800 North Price. I'm curious about the dollar amount that is included in this particular loan.
So we have Mr. Yowitz here. Mhm.
So, first, let me say, I'm not sure I'm going to answer the question, but I'm going to answer a different question, which is, you already have signed, the council have already signed a collateral assignment of the TIF to our current lender. We're just swapping lenders. So, I'm not sure what the dollar value of our lending agreements has any germane effect. Like this is not something I would normally discuss in public.
That's fair enough.
I think there's some confusion because you earlier in the meeting referred to when we get to item 10, we'll be discussing potentially extending, the timeline or whatever. These are two different issues.
Oh, I'm sorry if I was unclear about that. I meant I'd be here for item 10 for another issue, which was the
Right,
collateral
but-
assignment.
But it made it sound like there's.
Oh, yeah, yeah. no.
I wanted to make sure for those listening in and for Kate Pichon-Hellman, who came up and identified herself, that you're just switching banks and we're reassuring something. We are not doing any kind of extension of the TIF at this time.
Correct.
Thank you. No,
That's-
that's why there was some confusion because of the tie-in you made earlier this.
Yes, I'm
morning.
sorry. What I should have said more clearly at the outset was that this was coming as item 10. I gave you an update, and coming up at the end of June is the expiration or the current substantial completion deadline of our redevelopment agreement. And I think we need to have a conversation about an extension to that. And I foreshadowed some of the things I'm going to propose in that, which is wholly and completely separate from this.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Minton?
Yes, I'm here.
Aye.
Could you guys share with us the financials of the TIF since the buildings are changing dramatically in size? Is it still anticipated to generate the revenue that was projected in the original plan?
Mr. Minton, that has
Like a
nothing whatsoever to do with what we are talking about now, but I will allow us to consider your question at a later date. All
Okay.
right?
Well, as a citizen, we don't want to be left holding bag. Thank you.
Uh-huh. We have allowed that to be a little more transparent, and I will now, there's recommended action in front of you. I will entertain that motion.
I'd be happy to make a motion to authorize the city manager to sign the city acknowledgement to collateral assignment and agreement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please poll the council. Oh, please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Weil,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Mayor Waldman,
Yes.
motion is passed.
I kind of had that same
Mhm.
thought as you did as well. Okay.
Mr. Yawich has a question.
Go ahead. I'll let it be, hey, I took away, I said, hey, I'm going to be a little bit different here, but I as well misunderstood. So go
That's
ahead.
fine. Oh, good. Question. Do I need to make a formal request to start the conversation, or is that something that the city manager and I can start discussing? There's a
I'm gonna-
lawyer here. Let's let the lawyer answer.
I'm going to tell you, I thought it was going to be discussed, but I don't know what the city attorney and everyone may have done as part of their job. So I'll let you remark.
Yeah, I think that I think that your conversation should be with the city manager, but when you come for the actual council approval of the extension, that does need to be a very formal request. And so I would put that in writing.
Okay, so work with the city manager to submit something for council approval.
Correct. Yeah.
Perfect. Great.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, we'll go on to item number 11, which is a Holy Fest picnic license. Ms. Tucker Knight, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Beverly Tucker Knight, Parks and Recreation Director. This evening, we request that you approve a picnic license for the Holy Festival on March 15th at Stacy Park. We'll be providing alcoholic beverages for sale And it's managed by a nonprofit group that has been managing it for the last, I believe, 5 holies. And they submitted the correct paperwork to the police department for their background check.
Plain and simple, what her request is, and there's recommended action. I will entertain the motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve Holy Festival's picnic liquor license for March 15th, 2025 at Stacy Park.
Now a second.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Weil,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Mayor Waldman,
Yes.
motion is passed.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yippee. We're gonna have fun. Is it supposed to rain Saturday?
The forecast is lively. It's moving around.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's a
fingers
very nice
crossed.
way of putting it.
Okay.
Lively.
Okay.
I do have one question related to the Holy Festival. So is there any flexibility in the date at all in the future? Because it falls over spring break, so I think a lot of families
Yeah.
and kids that would be enjoying it are not gonna be here.
Well, similar to other festivals, it's a lunar calendar. So we try and get it as close to the actual date as possible.
Got it.
Yeah, but
Makes
we
sense.
do understand that.
All right, thank you so much. We move into the second hearing from citizens, part 2. If anyone has a questions or inquiry or wants to express themselves, please raise your hand for those that are online and for those that are in the audience. All right, we will move on to the next item number 14, which is the city attorney's report. Good evening, Ms. Carr. The floor is yours.
Would you like to do the
You
minutes?
forgot the minute.
What did I?
Want me to say that out loud?
Oh, forgive me. Thank you so much. Item number 13. See, I had item number 13, review and acceptance of the meeting minutes of the city council from February 25th and the work session from March 4th. I will admit that I didn't look at those notes, so I don't know if there's something to be fixed.
They were
They were good?
very clear and simple to me.
All right. With that, I will entertain a motion that we acknowledge the minutes of those 2 dates.
I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the city council meeting from February 25th, 2025, and our work session minutes of the city council from March 4th of 2025.
Second.
Please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Weil,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Mayor Waldman,
Yes.
motion is passed.
All right, now we're on to item number 14, which is the city attorney's report. Madam, Ms. Clark, Carr, it's yours.
I have no report this evening. Thank you.
And with that, we have no other reason to do anything but for me to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. We are adjourned at 8:18 PM on March 11th. Thank you all.